Hey everybody, Jaden here. We have Ryan here today, and I'm just going to be talking about how Ryan got to the point where in 12 months he was able to generate almost 200K with Amazon. But before we dive into all of that, I just want to first introduce him.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Ryan. I've been doing Amazon for about a year now and it's going really good. Hit around 200K and keeping just going at it right now.
See, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So real quick, just kind of want to go back to the beginning, man. Like before you even joined the academy, tell me like a little bit about like what your life looked like. Like what were you doing before the academy?
Before the academy, I was working and I hated it, honestly. Like I had a 9 to 5 job. I always, every year I would just be switching jobs here and there and it would just because like I just hated working for someone else.
Mhm.
I hated having my own job and working for people. I would rather have my own thing and do my own stuff, in my own time. Makes my life a lot easier.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And why did you hate like that 9 to 5 work so much?
Usually, I just felt like I wasn't really appreciated much at the workplace. I
Mhm.
would do a lot of work compared to the other people that would be working with me, and I would not really get raises or anything like that, or, get into a higher position, even with some companies that I've worked with for years. And because previously before I was working for this one company for a few years. They were telling me they were going to give me a managerial position. They were like, yeah, in like another month or two, and they never did. So after that I was just like, all right, I quit, I'm leaving. And then after that, I wasn't really set with getting another job or keeping another job for a longer amount of time because I just did not like it you
Uh-huh.
know
Makes sense. Makes sense. And what were you doing for work like for that, what you said like the last couple of years?
so originally, like, I was working at a bank. And then, my first job was working at Dunkin' Donuts. It sucked. Hated it. Worked there for a few years because they would give me like little raises and stuff. And then they were like, oh, we're going to eventually give you a managerial position. Never did that. So then I switched over to the bank, worked there for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. And it was getting to the point where they were like, oh, you're not doing any work. And I'm like, I'm doing more work than anybody else around me, and you're telling me I'm not doing any work. Like, okay, I'm leaving then. Bye. See ya. And I quit that, and that was it, really.
That's crazy, man. So like
Yeah.
just to put that like timeline in perspective, how long were you working for that bank for? I know you said like 2 years, but what years were those?
Um, Pretty much like I started that around 2020.
2020. Okay,
Yeah.
so you started at 2020, worked for 2021, 2022 for this bank. 2022, all of a sudden just decided, you know what? I'm fed up with this shit. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just quit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of strange, man, because normally like most people have to like provide for themselves. They have an income, stuff like that. So, how did you get to that point where you're like, yo, I'm gonna just quit and just like hope for the best?
Like, I saw my friends, some of my friends, they have their own business and stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna just try to do something like that, do my own thing, honestly. I
Mhm.
even worked for one of my friends for a few months too after I quit the bank and everything. And I was like, yeah, let me, work for you, work for him for a few months. And that was all right. That's honestly, he does something similar to Amazon too. So, like, it got me going to the point where it's like, all right, I can do the same shit. So I started looking up online and I saw your videos, I saw a few other people's, and I was like, all right, Jaden seems like he's got something easy going on. So it's like I could do this pretty easily just and make money.
Mhm.
So that's really what got me into it because, like, I was just looking at videos and working for my friend at the same time.
Mhm.
And that just gave me the idea.
Makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so what business was your friend doing that was like kind of similar to Amazon?
He is a wholesaler, pretty much. He buys products in the US and he'll ship it out to other countries.
Makes sense. So you saw
Yeah.
what he was doing with wholesale and just like moving products more like B2B, and you're like, yo, you know what? If I could try to move products somehow, that would be pretty cool. And how
Yeah.
did you get to the point where you started looking into Amazon? Because I know there's like a lot of routes you could take into like moving inventory and just a lot of opportunities in the e-commerce industry.
I just started seeing a lot of videos on Instagram, honestly, people selling on Amazon and everything. And originally I looked into private label
Mhm.
and wasted my time like 6 months doing that, figuring that out. And I just dropped that. And after I saw your videos where it's easier, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, I can just buy the brands that are already selling on Amazon, just resell
Mhm.
them. And, that made more sense. And because instead of me starting my own brand up and taking months or years to get it going.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And I just want to paint the picture for like everyone who's listening at home. So, real quick, you worked at the bank for 2 years. You quit in 2022, right? Do you know specifically like what month you quit?
I think it was March, maybe.
Okay. So March you quit that position working at that bank. And then from there you start working with your friend.
Yeah.
He starts putting you on game to just like reselling and just like selling products online. Then when did you start like actively getting into private label? And then how did you even get into private label?
Like when I first started working with my friend, I started, seeing those videos on Instagram and everything. Um, and I saw videos where they would say, "Oh, you could just hire out an assistant where they'll set up your whole store for you and it's pretty cheap and everything." And I did do that. I was doing that while I was working for my friend, and that dude, the guy that I hired out, wasted my time. He was saying, "Oh, I've gotten multiple approvals for people for their brand and everything. For some reason, it's not working for you. I'm gonna keep retrying, blah blah blah." And yeah, just wasted my time the whole time doing that,
Mhm.
and never got any inventory, never got any brand approval or anything like that. So then after that, I was just like, all right, screw this. Like, I'm not doing this any longer. I'm gonna figure something else out. And then literally 1 month after I said that to the guy, I got rid of him. I saw your videos popping up. I'm like, oh shit, okay. This makes a lot more sense. And I started looking more into that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And at this time, you were still working for your friends.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So you still had like an income coming in. You spent how long did you spend like doing private label?
That was from March to like around August. Because then in August was when I started seeing your videos pop up and everything.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, this seems a lot more easier.
Makes
Let
sense.
me
Yeah.
just get rid of that guy. And I told him right away, I'm like, all right, bro, we're done. Like, I'm not wasting any more time doing this.
Yeah,
You know?
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, so like 6 months doing
Yeah,
private label. No, like didn't get any inventory,
nothing.
didn't get
Got
anything.
nothing done. Maybe
That's
I ordered one sample. That was it. Because
uh,
like I was like, oh, you can't sell the products unless you have a brand approval. It doesn't make sense to sell it generically. You won't get sales, this and that. And so I didn't, I listened to the guy. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna. And, yeah, just wasting my time doing that.
yeah, that's crazy. And that's the thing with private label. I think most people don't understand is how long it actually takes to get started and
Yeah.
start seeing profit, right? Because you have to create the product, the brand, the listing, right? The
Like
copy.
Amazon has to approve the brand, which takes even longer. In my case, it took a long time. It didn't even happen because Amazon kept saying, "Oh, this is not the requirements you're meeting, this and that," and they would just keep denying it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Yeah. And that's that's kind of the downside of that private label business. So you spent 6 months doing that. How were you feeling like in that process? Like what were your thoughts? What was going through your head?
As time went by, I just kept on getting more frustrated. I'm like, damn, like I need to get this going. I'm not trying to go back to a job, I'm not trying to work a job anymore or anything like that. Like I just need to get this going, and just kept getting to the point where I was just getting really frustrated. And I was just like, all right, I gotta figure something else out, man.
Yeah.
Real soon. If not, it's gonna really be bad.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So you did the private label for 6 months, wasn't going good, probably stressing that don't have that much income coming in. And
Yeah.
then you saw me on Instagram. I mean, what piqued your interest from what I was doing on Instagram and with Amazon compared to what you have been doing for the last 6 months with private label?
Honestly, like, I saw you and like a few other people pop up, but like the thing with you is you were actually in store buying products. These people were talking about, let's um get you set up with the brand, this and that, and like you were talking about literally reselling what's already selling on Amazon, which makes a lot more sense because it's like why would you not sell something that's already selling out like crazy on Amazon and people already buying it, and instead of starting your own thing,
Hmm.
so that made a lot more sense for me in that way because it's like, all right, I get to sell Nike, I get to sell Adidas products, all this stuff. I know I'm gonna sell those stuff, and I don't have to worry about like spending money on a shit ton of inventory and just losing my money because the product's not selling.
Hmm.
So like that made a lot more sense in that way for me.
Makes sense. Okay, so you saw the content, you're like, you know what, this model makes more sense. I understand it better. I have a better vision of kind of what I need to do to get to where I'm trying to go. And you reached out to me. I think we got you started in the academy, what, like in August or
It
September of
was
22?
Yeah, it was like in the beginning of September or end of August.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we got you started in the beginning of September. I know we hopped on that call. I'm just curious, like, what was kind of going through your head? Like, when we were talking, I'm like, yo, let's get you into arbitrage. What was like going through your head on
I
that
was
call?
like a little nervous. I'm like, is this dude legit? Like, not gonna lie, I was like, is this dude legit? Um, and then I was like, honestly, if I just keep thinking that with everybody that, I contact or something like that, it's not gonna work out. I'm just gonna waste my time and just not do it. So I'm like, screw it. All right, let's go with it. I'm gonna see how it works out, and went on from there really. And ever since
So
then, it's been going good, man.
yeah. So what pushed you over the edge to take that jump in leap of faith into getting mentored by me?
I was honestly talking to my mom about it as well, and I was like letting her know. I was like, yeah, I was on this call with Jaden. Dude's like 20 years old, and he's already doing millions on Amazon. I'm like, I'm late. I should be on that,
Yeah.
And she's like, then go ahead, try it out, see how it goes. I'm like, all right, but like, I'm gonna just go at it then. Cause I was like, damn, dude's 20 and he's doing all this. And I'm like, I'm just here. I was working a job for the last few years and going through college. It's pointless,
Yeah.
you know?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, sweet. I got it. So we got you in the academy late August or right at September in 2022. You got into the academy. Tell me like what happened. What type of results? Let's just say because I know we've been working together for the last year now. So what type of results were you seeing in the last or the first 4 months of working together? What did that look like?
So, I went over all the coursework and everything in the academy, got all that done. And, I started getting a full understanding of everything. And I just got into it where I started buying products to get, approved to sell and everything, and started um just going crazy with the inventory. The first few months I wasn't working with too much money because I was trying to see how it goes and everything. And it started going good to the point where I was just flipping my money every month,
Mhm.
and I was flipping my money to the point where the first month or two I only did probably like 2 grand in sales. And then it got to the point to the third month where I was doing over 5K.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, this shit works, like it's really working really good. So once I got to that point, I started getting more money. I'm like, I'm gonna put more money into this, taking out loans and everything, and just working my way up from there.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So when did you start seeing like your first sales with this arbitrage model?
I started seeing my first sales like I was probably 2 weeks into the academy because
So
I got in right away because like I was like, all right, I gotta get this going to see how it really works, you know. So like I started buying up inventory to get ungated, and then buying up inventory at the same time to sell,
Mhm.
and did all that, sent it all into Amazon right away within a week, and after that, once it got received into Amazon, it started selling.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty crazy, man. Like two weeks into doing arbitrage, you were already generating sales. Whereas like with private label, dude, you were doing that for like 6 months. You
Yeah.
can buy inventory.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. So like I was like, damn, okay, like sales are coming in, let's go. I was getting hype at that point. Once I saw my first sale, I was like really hype. I'm like, shit, let's get more stuff. Let's get more stuff and let's get it going. And like at that point, I started sourcing online a lot more, hitting up the stores and like going in store a lot more and everything. Like almost every week to the point where I was just buying products.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And like within that, like I would say like 4 6 months of just working together. In that first, yeah, 4 6 months. I mean, what do you think was like the biggest challenge or like the biggest hurdle you had to overcome? Like what did you have to overcome? And then how did we help you overcome that?
My biggest hurdle was honestly the capital constraint.
Hmm.
So, and then I talked to you about it as well at that point. You were like, dude, just go around, see if you got people that'll give you out loans and what's it called? Give them back a certain percent of interest.
Hmm.
And honestly, that was probably the best advice I've ever gotten because I would not have thought of that myself.
Yeah.
And it worked out well because I had multiple people offering me money. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Like, let's get it going, because
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
making money. They're getting more money back from what they compared to what they would at a bank, and I'm making more money at the same time. So it's like it was a win-win for both parties. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
that really helped out for me.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, no, I would say like with Amazon, especially this arbitrage model, I mean, people will only encounter two constraints. Either you don't have enough capital to buy the inventory you could find, or you don't have enough time to find inventory with the capital you have. Right. So I like that's why I think this business is so simple because it could only be those two things. And it's
Yeah,
very easy to scale and beat those constraints as you keep on moving on as a seller. And it's like obviously like the most basic things, like maybe asking your relatives, your family members, your close friends just for capital. So that's
yeah.
cool, man. That's cool. So within like let's just say like the first 6 months within the academy, what was like your total sales?
In the first 6 months, I think I did about I think it's like 60 or 70K.
67.
Yeah, and then I started putting more capital into it. That's when things started really ramping up
Mm-hmm.
to the point where now I'm at around 200K.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dang,
yeah,
man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, because I remember for 6 months we were just like working on like basic level stuff, like basic
yeah,
Amazon seller stuff. We got the capital, we ramped you up. I know you were like doing like 20K per month. And then from there, we decided, hey, you know what? We really need to build this thing into a real business. So describe like the last 6 months of training we've kind of been through.
so yeah. In the last 6 months, I got set up with a VA. Like I got set up with the whole team and everything for product research and everything. Where they're doing the product research, I'm grading the work, and I'm buying the products from there. I'm making sure they're all valid stuff to get. And then, and I'm at the point where I'm set up with a prep center as well, and I'm sending the products there. Since I live in New York, I get taxed if I buy products here, and it's easier to just send it there tax free. And I end up saving more money doing that
Mhm.
as well. So, that really cut out a good amount of my costs using the prep center, and using the VAs helped out, me expand into other categories a
Mhm.
lot more on because originally when I first started, obviously I was just into shoes, and
Yeah.
selling shoes left and right. But yeah, now it's at the point where I'm selling almost everything. So it's going good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I know. It's been like a whole year since we've been working together. So that's really awesome to just see your growth over this year from good doing private label for 6 months, not making any money to getting
Yeah.
started with arbitrage. Now you're like doing 20, 30K a month. And how much revenue are you making right now?
Right now, yeah, I'm at the point where I'm doing like minimum is like 20K a month.
20K a month. You mind showing us your all-time sales on your phone?
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah, so I'm at this. Oh, can you see this? Nope.
No.
One sec. Give me one sec.
Yeah, I think you have to like turn your virtual background off or something.
Yeah. All right, you can
There
see
you
this.
go.
Oh,
Oh,
why
yeah.
is this?
Maybe if you like put your hand over it. Oh, I think it's because you still have the blur on your background.
Let's see.
There you go.
How about now? Oh, phone's
Oh,
off.
phone's off.
Yeah, this is.
You still can't see it. Turn
Yeah,
your
it's so
brightness down maybe a little bit.
blurry.
Still glary.
Still blurry. How about
Yeah,
now?
maybe put your hand up to it. I'm not.
Let's see. Nope. I don't know.
Maybe like to the side like this. Something like that.
Is that better?
I don't know. You really can't see the number.
Yeah, what is going on? I don't know. I think it's just my computer screen is just really shitty, man. That could be the issue.
No worries. No worries. Maybe try like one more time.
Yeah,
Let's see.
let's. This is my year to date so far.
Well, you could see that. I mean, yeah, I don't know what
Yeah,
the
because if I turn it like this, it's just like super blurry and the brightness is crazy. And this is on low brightness too.
yeah, you can see you're doing sales, man. I
Yeah.
see the 100K mark for sure.
Yeah, man. It's already, this year alone, I'm at like what, 150 right now, and I still got 2 more months.
Yeah, best months
So,
of the year.
like that's for the year. That's from January, and that hasn't even been from like the last like that hasn't been since I started even. So
Mhm.
that's good. That's like progress right there in my eyes.
No, yeah, that's big. I mean, especially going from like doing $0 with private label to now you're doing like 20, 25K, 30K a month with
Yeah.
arbitrage. That's big in the next, and you went full time too. Like, how
Yeah,
do you
man.
feel now? Like, do you feel like how do you feel now that you're full time with Amazon? You have a consistent income coming in. Like, what does that feeling feel like now?
Honestly, it's like I'm living my best life. I got a lot more freedom. I can do things whenever I want. It's like if I want to work on the business, if I don't want to work on it in the morning, I got the nighttime. If I'm busy one day, I got the next day. So it's like makes my life so much easier to the point where I can like work like my schedule is a lot more open.
Hmm.
I can work with a lot more different things on that end.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So you feel just more freedom. And I know like your whole goal before joining the academy was to go full time, never go back to that 9 to 5 because you hated that
Yeah.
that line of work. Now you got to the point where you had that freedom. I mean, I believe that must feel good that you hit your goals.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, I've been trying to get to that point for years now where I don't want to work a 9 to 5, because my entire goal in life is not to work a 9 to 5 like my parents have. Live life more freely and just be able to live it on good terms.
Mhm.
That's really it. And now it's like I could see that I'm getting to that point with Amazon.
Mhm.
The next goal is to just hit 1 million. Go
Yeah,
on from there.
that's the goal. So like what is your plan? Obviously, you want to do like 7, 8 figures in sales, but for the next, let's just say like year, what's your plan for the future?
So my plan is right now is just um especially for the next year, I want to expand Amazon like crazy. So, I even told my friends and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going on any more vacations. I'm done. I'm like, at least for the next year, I'm done. I'm not going anywhere. I'm putting my all into Amazon. And like, I'll see you guys on your birthdays. That's about it. But other than that, like going crazy with it. I'm trying to get this to the point where I'm doing, over 100K a month in sales easily. And like that would make my life more satisfying.
Mhm.
That would make me feel satisfied big time.
Makes sense. Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to like scaling to those 8, 7 figure marks with Amazon, it's a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of
Yeah.
systems you have to build, people you need to hire, things you have to do, right? So it takes a lot out of somebody to really get up to that scale. But for the people at home that really need like 5, 10K per month to quit their full-time job, just like you did, and to have that freedom you have now, I mean, how many hours a week do you think they need to put in to see the results you saw?
Honestly, in the beginning, it will feel like a full-time job. Maybe for like the first 2 months. That's how it felt for me. For like the first 2, maybe 3 months. I felt like I was putting in a lot of work. And then after that, it gets a lot easier because you
Mhm.
get a full understanding of how the system works. You'll start getting, oh, what products do I need to buy? Oh, yeah, I can't get deals on this, so I'm not even gonna look at it. Stuff like that. It gets a lot easier to the point where you know what to look at, what to get, and what you'll make money on at that point. And
Mhm.
then after that, like it cuts down to the point where you're only maybe doing 10, 20 hours a week on the business.
Mhm.
Like the longest you'll be working on the business is for shipping out the products. That's like the most you'll do, Product research gets easy to the point where you can just hop on a computer for an hour and find things within that hour with ease.
Mhm. So right now, you're running at 30K per month. I mean, how many hours is that taking you per week?
Right now, the first time I hit the 30K mark, it was I wasn't putting in that many hours because I was just doing sourcing online, finding products left and right. Now it's like, I'm just trying to ramp it up even more. So I'm starting to put in more hours. But in the beginning, like when I first was reaching that 30K mark, probably like 20 hours in a week at most.
20 hours a week
Yeah.
to that 30K mark. Yeah, that's definitely reasonable. I would say, yeah, if you have like
Man,
that 20,
what
15
job
hours.
is gonna give you that, Like no
Exactly.
job is gonna give you like 20 hours a week and give you like 30K a month in sales or something,
Mhm.
you know?
Exactly, exactly. So, I mean, like I said, we've been working together now. I think it's been like 13 months, 12 months. I know it's been over a year. Would
Yeah.
you recommend others like to work with us?
Yeah, man, 100%. Like your program is good. Honestly, it's very simple. It's not any complications where you got to do like extra things or anything like that. It's all straightforward. As long as people are putting in the work, man, it's probably the easiest thing in the world.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So,
would agree with you. It all comes down to just putting in the work. Like if you have a brain, you know how to maybe do some division and multiply, and you're not dumb, and you just put in the work. You have the work ethic. You will get results. Just
yeah,
a matter of putting in the work. So, I mean, obviously, I feel like for some people may not be a good fit for Amazon, and this may not be a good business for them. So who do you think this business or even our academy, like what do you think, what type of person would be a good fit for this?
I would say honestly, if you're looking to get out of a 9 to 5, like if you hate working a job and you have money put aside for like savings or something, don't let that savings just sit there because you're really not making much letting it sit there in the bank or anything like that.
Mhm.
Use that money, get yourself out of the 9 to 5, get into the academy, learn how to sell on Amazon and go from there. Cause like honestly, that will help out a lot more than you working a job. Yeah, sure, you'll get retirement benefits and stuff like that with a job, but that's the way things are going. Sometimes that might not even work out at the time when you're
Yeah.
65. This could be your retirement and more easily, at that point.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're working for retirement benefits, I think you're working for the wrong thing.
Yeah, most people, that's the thing though. Like most people say, "Oh, job is secure. I'll get retirement benefits, social security and stuff like that." But if you think about it, and yeah, oh yeah, you're also your other benefits like medical and stuff. But if you think about it really hard, if you're making a lot more money than you do at your job, all those benefits are useless.
Exactly.
Like because realistically, you need money in the world and like to do anything.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Exactly. Money could buy your benefits, but your benefits don't give you the freedom to get to
Exactly.
where you want to go, right? And I think that's a lot of people. I think it just comes down to like the limiting belief people have for themselves. Where like that average medium income in the US, I know it's like around like 55K. So
I
people
think it's even
expect
less.
like 6K, 7K a month. That would be great for them. When in actuality, like making 30, 40, 50K a month from a business is very realistic. And if they had that type of money, they could definitely pay for their health insurance and the benefits
Yeah.
they get from their job, plus more, and have that freedom. So that makes sense. That makes sense, man. And I know for everyone, even yourself included, right? You spent years working at 9 to 5 before you actually took that first leap, got into Amazon, started private label, then got into arbitrage. So for the people listening at home right now, why should they take action right now?
Honestly, now's the best time. There's no like point in waiting because the longer you wait, the harder it is to get out of that 9 to 5. The more used to it you get, the more comfortable with it you get, and that's how it is. That's
Mm-hmm.
how life works. If you're in a comfortable spot, you're not going to want to get out of it.
Exactly. I agree with you there. And I mean, for the people listening at home, what's like your number one piece of advice for like just people trying to get into this business right now?
Honestly, get into this business, get set up with as much as capital you can to start it off. Because I get it, when you start off with a little bit of capital and you don't see as much as results, you get a little like turned down from it and you don't want to continue because you're like, oh, it's not giving me much results. But if you start this with like 5, 10K, man, you will be like, oh shit, it's really going. And you'll want to take this all the way at that point. That's all I gotta say, really, because the more money you're working with, the better it
No,
is.
yeah. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, like, dude, if you think about it, like you go throw 10K into Amazon right now, you're getting back 5K profit next month. And
Hmm.
you're replacing your 9 to 5 income right away off
Yeah,
that. Even if you get started with 2K, right? You're at 1K per month profit and you're able to keep on rolling that till you get to the point you had 10K, start making 5K per month, start living off that or whatever you want to get to suit your income goal,
yeah,
whatever that is for the people. But other than that, man, it's been great having you on, Ryan. And thank you so much just for the people watching at home. Have a good one, everybody.